Okay, so I'm recording this session, guys. So I'll just say good evening to everybody once again. I was just giving an intro into, what this session is going to be about. So yes, today is about intraday trading. And like I said, if you've never taken my trades, I'll suggest that you go on demo first and take them on demo and experience the pullbacks, just experience it before you decide that this is what you want to do. Another thing I want to point out is that not everybody is going to be an intraday trader. When we begin to trade in the beginning as a new trader, as a new student of the community, you find that everybody scalps. That's where we mostly start. But over time, you kind of begin to separate yourself, and based on your personality, you may prefer maybe to stick to scalping, or you may prefer to transition to intraday, or even go into swing trading. But in the beginning, what I've observed is most people start as most people begin as scalpers. Reason being, I know a lot of us begin with a small account of about $100. So basically what that means is if you're doing intraday, you can still intraday and swing on with $100, but it will take you time because you have to be very, very patient. And usually in the beginning, what I've seen is a lot of traders are not patient. So because you're not patient, you want to just get your money quickly and go. So intraday would not really work for you at the beginning. But in about 3 to 6, let's say 3 months, even 6 is long, 3 months, you'll know what kind of a trader you are. So for me, I transitioned, I scalped for a couple of, I think the first year that I was here, maybe first 8 months, I was a scalper. And then I think in September last year, when I went for a training in the US for IAM, I changed things, and I just decided I wanted to kind of calm down a bit in the market because of my personality. So if you're like me, if you're the kind of person who is impatient sometimes, or you don't like taking too much risk, okay, not really. If you prefer just sticking in the market longer and catching more pips, you're better off intraday. But if you're looking at small, 10 pips, 5 pips, 20 pips, you're scalping. Okay, so that's the difference. Now, for me, when I get onto my computer and I'm starting to do this analysis, I usually, first of all, I check the news. So when you're trading, you want to also be not just a technical or a trader, but you also want to kind of have an idea of what's happening in the world. So on TradingView, okay, we trade with a website for those who have just started with us. We trade with a website called, wait, let me just mute these mics. I think there are some mics that are on. Please, let's keep our mics muted. And Shiro, I will make you co-host so that just in case you can just help me mute the mics as people are coming in. Yeah, so what was I saying? What was I saying? Can somebody remind me what was I saying? That's what happens when I get distracted. I totally forget what I was saying. What was my train of thought? Does anyone remember what I said last? TradingView. Awesome. We have people who are listening. Thank you, Josephine, for that. Yes, so we trade with a website called TradingView. This looks very different, so I'm just going to clear let me look for another pair that I can CHF, but I don't have to change too much. Okay, so I'll clear this chart. So when you get started with the TradingView, it's just a blank chart. This is a charting website. Some people trade on MT4 on their laptops, so you can still see the same thing on your laptop, like a Forex chart. Some people trade on their phone. But for me, because I'm a price action market structure trader, I like to just trade on the laptop, and I like to use TradingView to analyze my charts. But I said, like, before that, I look at the news, I see what's happening. The pairs that I trade, actually generally everything, but mostly when you trade indices, because I'm sure you've noticed I like to trade indices, US 30, German 30, and so on. So they're very heavily influenced with news. So I'll recommend a couple of websites to start getting acquainted with. The first one being forexfactory.com, the next one being fx.com, and then there's also fxstreet.com. You can also look at the currency strength meter, which is on livecharts.co.uk. That's something you can also do, so that you can just see how the currencies are doing. Now, that said, once you're done with that, so that's usually my 9 a.m. routine every Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, because I only trade 3 times a week, majorly, okay? These days, sometimes I do trade actually on Mondays and sometimes Fridays, but Mondays and Fridays, the market is really slow, so you can be caught up looking at your screen the whole day before you can see a setup. But now on Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, I just come in, I come to tradingview.com. If you don't have an account, you'll open a free account. It's free to register. Then you can change the chart. You know, this is a chart that has already Euro CHF. Others may not have this. This is, you can edit your chart the way you want to do that. There's a training on tradingview.com on my YouTube channel as well. Feel free to go there and just check, like, okay, what is this trading view? How do I, figure that out? And then there's also a training on how to use MT4 on your laptop. So you can go on my YouTube again and check on that. Now, that said, so the beginning of my training, as an intraday trader, what we're interested in is the way the market moves in terms of, when we say price action, like for example, this here is the price, right? 1.07748, and this is Euro CHF. And we are on the day chart, right? There's a day chart, there's a 4-hour, 1 hour, and so on. So I usually start with the day chart. Now, price action just meaning how price acts, okay? Action, it's action. So you can see, if you look back, you have an idea what has price been doing with euros, how has Euro CHF been moving. Now, something happened in 2015. That's the beautiful thing with TradingView. It kind of shows you, the past completely. And Euro CHF dropped a couple of pips, not a couple, quite a number. So must have been a wild event of sorts. Yeah, in like a day or so. 2,000 pips. Yeah, about 2,200 pips. Yeah, about. Anyway, so you can see that, this is where it was, it came down, it moved up, the price moved up, it moved down, it rallied, it retested, it, impulsed again, and so on and so forth, okay? And then when you come closer, like when I look closer where price is now, so generally we can say price has been, for anyone who has done the basics, how has the trend been? Can someone comment? How has the trend been since 2015? Again, for the beginners, don't worry if this is advanced, just just keep on going through the academy. Anything you don't understand, you'll be able to catch up there. Do you do a subscription for TV? Joyce, I don't understand that question. Subscription for TV.
For TradingView.
Oh, I'm like, TV. No, there's a free version and a subscription version. So the free one, you can use it for as long as you want to use it, but it just has a bit of limitations here and there, but you may not even ever need to subscribe. But I think for professional traders, they do a lot with TradingView. You can mark up your charts. You can record your marking up of your charts so that you can always see what happened in the past in real time now, when you're monitoring your trades and so on. There are many things you can do. There are more tools you can use. You can literally have your own channel for TradingView whereby people follow you and all over the world. So that's that. So you can have the free channel, the free option, or the paid one. So thank you for that question. Yes, so I was asking, what is the trend generally? Let me see. I think I saw someone writing an answer. Dorcas Wanyoni says it's consolidating sideways. Do we agree? Hello, hello. Does everybody agree with Dorcas? If you agree with Dorcas, just type 111. Between 2015 and now, are we consolidating? Are we moving sideways? 111. Yes, Kennedy. says 111. Victor says 111. Even the beginners can chip in. Whatever you see is okay. So technically, yes, we are moving sideways. Now, okay, see, Perez agrees, Joyce to a large extent. Awesome. So at least we see something. At least we see something common. And that's the thing about trading, guys. If many of you people see the same thing, then generally you're right, whether or not you even know what you're doing. It's not rocket science. It looks like it, but it is not. So yes, it's been since this drop, it's it's impulsed up and then it consolidated for a bit, then it kind of went back up. But when you look at the bigger time frame, like let's see the weekly chart tells you for sure it has been in consolidation here and here. So it's been on a sideways move. So sometimes when you're confused about it, you can always go at bigger time frames and just confirm that. Now, the next thing, so we know it's been consolidating. Something I would do, maybe go back to the day chart, because I usually mark up my charts on the daily chart unless I can't see the trend. Then I make the chart a bit bigger. So right now, what I usually do is I try and trap price. So trapping price means that I'm just trying to zone in to see the important bit of the chart or where price is. So this is my point of focus. This is where price is currently as we speak today on Euro CHF. And so based on that, I'm trying to look at, okay, what's the trend on Euro CHF? So yes, we've been moving sideways since 2015, but currently, like right now, what is happening? Can anyone help me answer that question? What is the trend on Euro CHF? Again, this class will just be very interactive so that I don't just say the same thing. Anybody, anybody, anybody? What is the trend on Euro CHF?
Can I answer?
Yes, please, Innocent, go ahead.
I can see from May till date it is an uptrend.
From?
From May.
Yeah, okay. May or here? Ah, yes.
Yes.
You are right. Anybody else? Perez says uptrend, being on slightly upward trend, Ben, awesome. Okay, so guys, there's usually okay, so that's one answer. What about from December 19, 2019?
It's been on a downtrend.
Yeah. So usually, here's the thing about trading. There's always a trend within a trend within a trend within a trend. So there's never a wrong answer. That's the point I'm trying to make. So sometimes someone will be like, no, but this is going down. Somebody will be like, no, but it's going up. It depends on what you're looking at. So all answers right now are actually correct, right? So, but remember, this is the point of focus. So what I do is, and for those who have been on my class, we look for the trend, right? Based on the low and the highs. So if you guys know what trends are, you can see right now, this is the lowest point as far as I'm concerned right now. Can we agree? If we agree, just type 111. Yeah, I'm going to force you guys to interact. Don't worry. So this is the low point right now, since whenever. So I'll just come here and I'm trying to look for the trend on the daily chart, okay? So this is basically how we draw our trends on the daily chart, okay? Remember, trend is uptrend, downtrend. So I'll just look for maybe 1 or 2 points that it's this trend line, where price hits the trend line, okay? And I'm using, so this is the support, this is the floor, the trend line, the support trend line, Now I'm going to also look for the high. Now you can do this any way you want. You can pick it up from here, 2019 April, or you can zoom in and pick it up from here. at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. But what I would do, just keep it simple. What you can see, okay? By default, I feel like going this way, so I'll just come here. From the high point here, what I can see, I just want to touch maybe one or two other places. Even if it's just two, it's fine. At least minimum two. The trend lines have to touch two points. Yeah. So you can see what's happened, right? So this is the downtrend, the downtrend line, and this is the uptrend line. But this is also a resistance trend line, and this is a support. So if for the beginners, support is the floor, resistance is the ceiling. Ceiling meaning that's how high it went, floor meaning that's how low it went. Now, once I do that, I simply then look at where is the point of confluence. So point of confluence or point of where these two lines meet is here. So I'll just mark it up as well for my own memory's sake, you know, so that it's a point of reference. Usually I just make it color, you know, a dark color that doesn't, oops. This is what I want. And it doesn't matter what color, this is up to you. You're marking up your chart the way you want to mark it up. For me, I just like the colors because that's how my brain works. So now that's it, right? So I'll just, you know, move it there to where the two lines meet. Now this is what I call the point of confluence. So what I've done is I've trapped price within this region, just so that I can visually see what is happening. So if I was to explain this simply, I would say, okay, so price here in 2019, April 23rd, it was at what? It was at 1.14671. Yes. So let me just mark that up. Oh boy. So that's where we are at. So this is the highest. Now what I'm doing now, I've drawn the trend lines. What I'm doing now is I'm drawing the support and resistance, the highs and the lows horizontally, the ones that we see, where the price got to the highest and where the lows are and so on. So this is the highest in 24th April 2019, okay? So anything beyond that for me right now, before this, is not maybe so relevant right now because we can see that price is really, really low. So technically, in as much as we're on an uptrend, guess what price has been doing? It's been moving down. Can we agree? If you check the academy, it gives you highs, lower high, lower high, lower high, yeah? Makes sense. If it makes sense for the beginners, especially, just type 111. For those who've been here before, do not worry. You're learning more and more with repetition. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Clifford. I see you. So this is basically it. So if I was to ask a question again, where do you think price would go based on what's been happening? Just a random question. And again, remember, there are no right or wrong answers. It's been going down, then it got to the floor, and now it's moving. It's been moving up. What do we think? Anybody? Anybody? Looks like on a downward. So a continuation of the downward trend. Anybody else? Either way, down, Clifford. Any other answer? Upward trend, Galaxy A51. Maybe you can just let me know who you are so I don't refer to you as a phone. But thank you for that. So like I said, there are no right or wrong answers right now because it could move either way. Yeah, so for us, you're right. It could go up, it could go down. It could continue on a downtrend, okay? Now, so it's important to just note that. It will make sense as we go along. So that said, so I found the first high. Then let's find where, so price is here, right? Okay, so I'll look for the next previous high based on where price is. So the one that looks, nearest is this one here. The one that interests me rather. You can put them anywhere. Any high you can put, by the way, there's no formula here. You can put as many as you want or as few as you want. But for me, I'm like, I just want to see the higher of this one, like where we are now. So this. Then maybe I can put another one maybe here. Again, you can put as many lines as you want. And what I'm plotting these support and resistance lines based off the wicks of the candle. So I'm sure you all have gone through the academy, you know what candles are. This is a candlestick chart. So the wicks of the candle. Now, that's on where the price is above the line of confluence, okay? So that's what I've been doing. Plotting the resistance lines above the line of confluence, and now I want to plot the support lines below the line of confluence. So this is an interesting point for me, and then this is an interesting point for me as well. So that's that. Then as you go along, you can decide to put, wherever you see, if you're still trying to figure out how to put the lines, it doesn't matter. Just put where you see the highs and the lows, okay? You can decide to put one here, you can decide to put another one here until you feel confident about what you're seeing. Now, that said, we can see a lot of wicks which represent rejection, am I right? So every time there was a long wick like this, what happened? Price, when it got to the support or resistance, it kind of like there was a rejection, okay, of price here. So the trend kind of changed. So that's also an indication. Sometimes when you see long wicks like that, you can assume that there's going to be a change in the trend. Another area is maybe here. This is very obvious, right? Price tried to go up. There was a rejection at this level, okay? It was trying to retest this previous high, as you can see. It didn't make it, and it rejected and continued down. Same thing happened here. Same thing has been happening here, and so on and so forth. And then now, where we are now, there's also still some rejection. Like, so what I would say for me would be like, okay, so price has been coming down. It got to the low and now has been going up, okay? Impulsing or rallying, that's the vocabulary we use. Then now it's on a downtrend, so it's just moving like up, down, up, down, up, down. And that's how generally price moves, up, down, okay? So it came here, hit the ceiling, came down, hit the floor, went. So what these lines are for me, and this is just for you guys to understand, these lines are also, they work like magnets, okay, but they also work like rejection points. So magnets meaning that now that it was down here, price was attracted again to this point, this trend line, and then it was rejected. Then it was, attracted to this point, rejected. So there's a lot of rejection, attraction, rejection, attraction. So I hope that makes sense, okay? Now, then for me, I'm like, okay, so where is, because that's a key question now, where is price going? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? So I'll be like, okay, let's see. This point of confluence is also a point of rejection because it's also a support and resistance. So it's the same as these other lines. It's just that I color-coded it just for me to know where it is. So we can see at this point in time, so price came up, broke the resistance here, attempted to go all the way up, but failed at this point of resistance. And then it came down, retested, okay? So it rallied, yeah, broke through, retested. An option here would have been it could bounce off here and continue up, but it didn't. It first broke through again, trying to retest a previous low. And then once it got to this support, and as you can see, when I say support, I just mean if you look left, price has been here before in the past. So this is another interesting price hit here, price hit here, price. So this is also another resistance support area. So that's what trading is about. It's just about watching how price is moving. Like it's always retesting, it's always trying to get back to where it came from, and so on and so forth. So the past, guys, always informs the future. Now that said, So it came down here, came here again, was attracted again. It retested the point of confluence again. So this is a very powerful point, okay, a powerful area. Then it broke through, trying to go up again, but there was no staying power, rejected, as you can see with the candlesticks, came back here and has been retesting this region. Remember, we are on the day chart. So if we were to look at the lower time frames, we'll see more candles, okay? For those who are beginners, you know that every candle here represents the time frame. So because we're on the day chart, this candle represents one day. The one next before is the previous day, and so on and so forth. So today, this is what has been happening the whole of today. Price began up here, came down completely, rejected, and went back up here. So in that period of time, okay, we've seen a move of about 67 pips. So for Euro US CHF, that's a standard move, yeah, between 10 to 70, 80, 90 pips. When you look at other currencies like the GBP pairs, they can do up to 200 pips in a day, yeah? So depending on what you're trading, that's what you get. So it has come down, rejected, and is now here. So the question is, where is it going? Where do you think it's going? So if you're unsure, you can just tell yourself, okay, price came here, it has rejected. So if it's rejecting, it means that possibly being the keyword, because there are no 100% answers, possibly it's trying to keep pushing up, but there seems to be a very strong resistance, okay? And then you can also say that since it seems to be really on a downtrend for quite a while, maybe it's just not going to be able to pass through here and it'll just go back down. Now, before now you make your decision, if you're unsure, you can go on the lower time frames. And that's why the lower time frames are there, just to give you a better view, okay? So I'll go to the 30-minute chart. Kennedy Muhindi has raised his hand. Hi, Kennedy. Do you have a question? Hi, Kennedy, do you have a question that I need to answer now, or I can continue?
Yeah, I wanted
Okay.
to ask. Yeah, I wanted to ask consolidation in place.
Sorry.
Hello?
Yes, just repeat your question. I didn't hear anything.
I wanted to ask, is it appropriate to trade when
Am I the only one who can't hear Kennedy? I just had the first. Is it okay?
when consolidation and when it's moving in a consolidation way? I wanted to, or let me ask, is it good to trade while consolidation
Okay, yes. I will get, oh yeah.
is happening? Yeah.
Is it okay to trade during consolidation? Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay, it's okay to trade at any time. Consolidation or not consolidation, I think it's up to you what you prefer. I find that when people are scalping, they tend to trade consolidation as well, because you're just looking for short moves. But when you're doing intraday, like what I do, and that's the strategy you're using to analyze the market, then you kind of want to avoid consolidation, because then it doesn't make sense. Unless the consolidating move has a significant number of pips in a direction. Because when you're doing intraday, you want to enter at the right time, okay? You want to kind of enter where by now you can get minimum drawdowns, whereby you're not caught up in a move in the wrong direction when you get into the market, which happens. I mean, it happens. Even today, it happened with DJ and the indices when I called out the trade. So it does happen. But I personally try to avoid, it's called what? Consolidation. As an intraday trader, I prefer to trade breakouts, because when there's a breakout, and when I breakout, I mean, let's look here. Is it on the daily? We can see breakouts anywhere. So let's go, okay, 30-minute chart. I do my entries on the 30 minutes, you can do them on the 15 minutes. So like now, this area here, okay, let me just put a line so that you can see. This area here seems to have been consolidating, okay, for a while. So let's, I'm just plotting the highs and lows. So this area here seems to have been consolidating. It's been moving sideways. And when we looked at the bigger time frame, remember, it was looking like it had been consolidating from 2015. Was it? Yeah. Am I right? Okay, let me make it smaller so that you can see. So yes, it's been consolidating here. Okay. Now, this is 50 pips. So it's just been moving up 50 pips, coming down 50 pips, going up 50 pips, going down, you know, right? But you see, as an intraday trader, you're looking for more than 50 pips. For a scalper, that's okay. You can trade up, you can trade down. You can trade up and down like that, okay? But for an intraday trader, I'm looking for more than 50 pips. You know, 50 pips would be a minimum, okay? So you're much better off maybe trading a breakout, yeah, or at least getting your entry whereby you know that, and a breakout meaning that there's little or no consolidation. So I'll give you an example. Let me just make this zone a bit clearer. Is there somebody else who has a question? You can't hear. Who cannot hear? Forez, you can't hear. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, type 111.
I can hear you. Oh, it's when you ask whether we can hear Muhindi.
Oh, okay, sawa. Thank you
yeah.
for that, Asante Sana. Thank you, thank you. Galaxy Echo 2 raised hand. Galaxy, who are you? By the way, I'm just allowing questions because I think maybe it will be easier for people to understand as you go along. Galaxy A2 Core, please introduce yourself and ask your question. Or type it out. Or did you raise your hand accidentally?
Yes.
You raised your hand accidentally?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Sawa, no worries. Thank you. Okay, so as you can see here, guys, okay, this area, and it doesn't matter, you can even draw it until wherever you feel like drawing, but for me, I'm just narrowing down here. This area has been, price has really been coming back to this area. So we can say that this is a very important area when it comes to Euro CHF. Like price was at 1.07835, and then another interesting point is 1.07336, okay? So right here, and we've agreed that this is 50 pips up, 50 pips down, 50 pips up, 50 pips down. So if you're on an intraday and your target is, let's say, minimum 50 pips, and you're targeting 100 pips, then really you'll probably only be able to get 50 pips at a time with Euro CHF. Okay, especially if you get in, let's say down here. But if you get in somewhere here, then really you find yourself in a drawdown. Yeah, because your entry was too late or something. So that's why you come to the lower time frame to just check your entries and see, okay, where does one get into the market to decide? So for example, my assumption right now is I'm just waiting for a breakout. So I'm going to remove this here. I'll remove this because I just wanted to show you that. So what I would do if I was on Euro CHF is kind of, let's see. I'm trying to see where is price, or where has price been in the recent past. So I've just made this clearer so that you can see. So I'll come here. use this tool here to draw like my zone, right? So I've already identified. So what I'm trying to do now is just draw the zones, the points that are interesting. And it doesn't matter, this line can be as fat as you want it to be, but I try to put them on the bodies of the candles. I'll just copy this so that I don't have to draw it again. And again, I'm just trying to trap price. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to trap price. So this is the current, okay, so yes, there's a wick here and that's fine. So I've used this as my base for the zone. How much I draw it below doesn't really matter, but for me, this is a key area. Like I said, these lines don't really matter. I just want you to see what I'm seeing. And you just want to see generally what's happening. So once I draw my zones, which are basically also highs and lows, okay, resistance and support, ceiling and floors, then you kind of can now even see a bit more clearer. So the thing is, price rallied, okay, hit the support area up there, rejected on the high. And if you notice, if I was to put a line here, I don't know if you guys see something. Who sees something there? Anything? Anything? Anybody? Anybody? I've just drawn a line here, a resistance line. Do you see anything? Nobody sees anything? All 30 of us see nothing. Okay, let me just say what I want to say. This is a resistance area, right? So if you look right, guess what happened? Price came and retested the same place that price was here, right? So these are key things to note, yeah? That price always repeats itself, okay? The price action usually, whether it's over whatever period of time, it will usually repeat itself. And usually the point of rejections up here are important because you can always tell yourself, yes, price rejected here, but chances of it coming here because of this week are very high. It doesn't matter when, but they're very high, okay, at whatever point in time. So those are just key things to note. So that's one. So I can even draw another zone here and just say, okay, fine. Okay. And so right now, this is the assumption I would do as myself, Lilian Okado, as a trader. I would say, okay, remember this line here? Who remembers this black line here without going to the bigger time frame? What line is this?
Confluence.
Asante, Forez. Now, this is a line of confluence. So this is a very key area. I already mentioned that, yeah? So price literally kind of has been consolidating, okay? It broke out of this zone here when it rejected this previous low, okay? So this whole area here is quite important, okay? You can widen it if you want. So it came, consolidated a bit here, rejected here, then broke out. As soon as it broke out and closed above here, it now rallied all the way up, and then it rejected. This all happened in one day, I believe, yeah? And then once it got to this very, very strong ceiling or resistance, it rejected and started coming down, okay? It retested the previous point where price was here, and then it rejected. But then the interesting thing is, what did I say about wicks? Anyone paying attention? I know you're all paying attention. Anyone who's bold enough to answer this question? Yeah, Innocent, yes.
Weeks are a sign of rejection in the resistance up.
Yes.
That's what I had.
Yes, that's excellent. You had right. Another thing, so that's the first thing, point of rejection and all that. Another thing, I also pointed out something earlier. this happened. This first happened, and then price came back here. At some point, doesn't matter when. It was on 3rd of August, and this was when? On 27th of July. So about 6 days later, right? A week later. So what do you think will happen here? This major rejection? Innocent? Or anybody?
There might be,
Yes, go ahead, go ahead. You can both answer one at a time.
there might be another major rejection at some point.
Yes. I'm looking for a word though. Anybody else? And yes, Ben, you're asking, could it have been as a result of some major news for those spikes, similar trend? Yes, this likely was news, this impulse. When you see consecutive candles going up, usually it's news or something has happened in the market. The spikes, as you call them, or the wicks, we call them wicks in the trading language. These are just, yes, they're points of rejection, but they're also points of exhaustion. Okay, so for example, practically speaking, the buyers, there was demand, the buyers came in, pushed the price up, but then at some point there was rejection because it just moved up too fast or too much or whatever, and broke structure and all that. And then at a point here, the buyers got tired and the sellers took over. That's practically what is happening. Trading is a tussle between the buyers and the sellers. So the sellers took over, but the sellers did not have a lot of staying power. So at some point here, they got exhausted and the buyers took over again, and then there was another tussle and so on and so forth. So my point of this week here, just like I said here, this is a point of retest. This is so once you see this week, you can just say, you know what, at some point, price will retest this bit. So it tried here, failed, went down, did its thing, then immediately it came here and rejected. This is the second time. What else do you think is happening here when it's rejecting? What do you think is happening? Anyone? What is price trying to do here on this resistance? What is price trying to do? There are no wrong answers. All of your answers are correct. All your answers are correct. It's trying to break the resistance. Awesome. Thank you, Bernard, for that. Oh, Ben, thank you for that. So yes, price is trying to push through, but it's failing. So it keeps rejecting. Now, if it keeps on doing that consecutively for a while, and sometimes it does that, what you find is that soon enough, and you can always say soon enough, one day, it will break and go to the upside. But because this is a point of exhaustion, it rejects. So people are exhausted, like, no, let's just keep on pushing the price down. Okay, so it was a very strong point of rejection. If it tries to retest there again a third time and rejects, then okay, it'll keep on doing the same thing, but at some point in the future, it might just break. Now, the thing is, once it breaks this point of exhaustion, guess what? That is a breakout. And now you can enter with full confidence. Okay, of course, it will break, retest. Once it retests here, after it's broken here, just hold on. After it's broken this level and it has retested, then you know it's going to, and this is after multiple attempts of trying to, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 attempts of trying to break it, okay? So that's that. But now, when you look at the bigger time frame, I feel like it's on a downtrend, okay? Because of just the way price has been moving down. So for me as a trader, as an intraday trader, I'll just be waiting, okay, for price to break structure, okay? This is how many pips when I look here. 99, 98 pips, okay? You can still scalp down, your 98 pips, or you can just wait. Those are the two, or rather, you can take a trade here of 98 pips, or you can just wait until it gets to here, break structure, and then enter for a sell all the way down. That's one way you can look at it. Alternatively, so if you're here, you're like, okay, let's see what happens. How many pips are these from the 16? I don't think you want to enter this trade right now for a sell, even if it's rejected up here, because it might reach here and bounce off or reject, do what it did here. So if you entered too early, and that's what happens sometimes, even to the best of us, sometimes you enter a trade too early, it rejects, then you're in a pullback for like 100 pips, and then that's when it comes down. So by the time it does 100 pips and comes down to your entry, you've really suffered in the market. You've made decisions like jumping out prematurely and so on and so forth. So as traders, we are always trying to get the best entries, okay? So that's why we go on the 30-minute chart. So now that I'm here on the 30-minute chart, price came down, broke structure. Okay, it broke structure. You can see that this is a very strong place, and this is a point of exhaustion a couple of times. Okay, it keeps on coming back. It keeps on coming back. It finally broke through. There was a candle here that I think formed with a wick, showing that, you know, the pressure to sell, the pressure to sell, the pressure to sell all the way from here has been very high. And if you see, this is 5:30. Yeah, 5:30. This is still, so this is like a day, okay? And then now it has broken through, and this is about, is it 50 pips we said? Yes, about 50 pips. So how do you know when to enter? This is actually about 40 pips. If you're scalping, how do you know when to enter? What I usually say is, if this is the previous low, this was a previous low. For me, if I was scalping this, I would probably enter here at this point on a sell. I would probably get in here, but an even safer entry would be here. Yeah, because this is an impulse, a long candle, impulse candle, but I'm also looking at the previous highs and lows. Yeah, so I'll probably enter here because I just want, let me delete this, or let me move it up first so that I show you what I mean. Come draw this line here. So I'm looking at where price is at this point in time. This for me is a zone, because I'm assuming that this had not yet happened, right? I'm assuming this had not yet happened. So let's say we see this here now. I'd draw my zone here based off the wicks here and the base of these candles, and you can see they go right through. And then I'd wait. So price is here, it has come down, it's doing its thing, it starts breaking, so I'm just waiting. So my point of entry, okay, would be below this zone. But if you're going to do it perfectly as an intraday trader, you're going to have to wait for the retest. So that's where it's a waiting games, because the retest means that I have to wait for these candles to go all the way down to my previous low down here, and then reject, retest, and then I'll start coming down. So right now, it would be a better area for you to come down. Okay, it would be better for you to get in here. But for me, this is still not a ripe trade as of now in terms of intraday, because I feel like it's still trying to find its direction. You can scalp with it, yes, take your 10 pips, because these are 50 pips. Okay, so even here you can take your, but then it's risky, because it can come here, you enter for a buy. Yes, there are probably 10 pips here, but what if it rejects because of this candle here that is rejecting? Okay, and then just starts going down. So for me, my point of exit or entry would be below here. And then I would just write down the trade all the way to wherever. So if it's below here, I would just get into the market here. and then just write it down to the previous low, which is about 133 pips. So let's say about 100 pips. So even if I enter and I say my first TP is 50 pips or my second TP, I mean, I'm safe. If I put my exit here on the next previous low here, you know, because remember, I have cleared the point of confluence, one. I have then cleared the previous low below the point of confluence. If it is continuing to go down, guys, chances are like 80% on the money that you're going to catch your 54 pips. And why have I put 54 as the first TP? Because there is a floor, there is a support. So price can actually come here, bounce off, reject, and go back up. But if it breaks, but you see, if you're an intraday trader and you entered here, then you're still in the money. You just move your stop loss into profit. So even if it comes and hits your stop loss, you're still in profit. But now let's say you saw the trade late, it has already gotten here. You wait and see, okay, fine. Will this thing really, then for me, I'd come here and say, okay, let's look at this zone a bit better. So I'll just do this and say, let's see. So it's here, right? This would be my area of interest. So my assumption would be, yeah, if price breaks, it will come down. Okay. And better yet, if it comes down all the way. But now, let's say I see it there. I'll just go on the 30-minute again. It has already broken. And then look for an entry down here. So I'd probably draw a zone here, you know, and I'll be like, okay, if it actually breaks this previous low, I'll probably enter here for a sell all the way down to the next low. So that's basically, guys, how I trade. I don't know if I'm making sense. This takes practice. This strategy may not be the simplest, but I find it very simple because I don't really complicate. Could it, Joyce, 30 pips you typically recommend for SL does not seem consistent with an intraday trader. Given those swing high, swing low trends, is 100 pips then reasonable bet? It depends on what you're trading and it depends on your entry. Obviously, I'm still also perfecting my entries. So ideally, it should work, except for indices. Indices will always move more than 30 pips. I don't know, but I don't say always because there are some educators who are really awesome with indices and they have minimal drawdowns. So obviously, like I said, I'm still learning. Yes, I'm a good trader, but I'm still learning on how to perfect my entries. But even Dr. K, I think she gave a trade today of US 30. And I think she gave us an SL of 200 pips. Paka, even me, I was like, hey, which is quite something, yeah? So indices are an exception to the rule. I usually tell people indices put your 100 pips. 30 pips is good for currencies. And I think, honestly, if we perfect our entries, 30 pips is sufficient. It's just that sometimes the entries may not be perfect. Now, which brings me to another point. We did a class 2 weeks ago on risk management, and I literally showed people how to use stop loss, okay, and using the profit calculator to trade with stop loss, with 30 pips stop loss, or rather with risking 1 to 2% of your account, regardless of what you're trading. Even if your account hits stop loss, we did an example of about, I think it was 11 trades. Even if the account keeps on hitting stop loss 8 out of 11 times, by the time you're on your 11th trade, you're still in profit. So I suggest please go back and watch the video the recording I did on YouTube. It's there, watch it again. I really want to emphasize this stop loss thing because I think it's important and that's the reason why people lose money. Yes, Bianca, I will be trading on risk management next week. So check in next week. And then Ben, you asked a question. Wait, Joyce, did I answer your question? Let me not assume. Did I answer your question, Joyce?
Yeah, you did. You did.
I
Thank
did.
you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Ben says, for a trade like this that is oscillating in a mixed fashion, is it worth considering for beginners? Good question. Maybe, maybe not. Then that's why we have multiple currencies. You have multiple currencies, okay? So you don't have, like if you're not seeing a trade, like right now, there's no trade here. Personally, let's see. Unless I'm entering as a swing trader and I have a reasonable small lot, I mean, manageable lot, I would enter this trade. But right now, no. I would wait for a retest if it's going on an uptrend, and then I go up with it all the way here. And that would be a slow trade because Euro CHF is not very volatile and it doesn't move too much in a day. But if you look at other currencies like GBP pairs, you know, Euro NZD, I mean, that's a mad pair. They do move, right? So I hope I've answered that question. So you can always go to the other pairs. We have so many pairs that you can trade that have moves. And that's why for me, every day when I look at the charts, I'll analyze like 20 pairs. And then the one that I'm seeing has moves or will be consistent, then I enter or I call it out as a trade. And then Joyce, you have a question as another one. As an intraday trader, do you use pending orders? Actually, it's recommended that you use pending orders. And you're right, it seems like a safe way to manage expectations. Even as a scalper, you could still use pending orders, even as a scalper, yeah? So you can say, I will only enter a trade if price gets to this point, okay? Because like now, here you're consolidating. So you can say, I will only enter once this consolidation move has ended and it's clear that it's ended. So you just analyze and say, okay, fine, I'll enter up here or down here. So you're right, Joyce. Yes, it is safer to use pending orders because you can set your parameters in advance. I hope I've answered your question, Joyce, again.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Bianca Monari, will you be training on risk management? Oh yes, I will. I think I've answered that. I will be training. So I'll just be alternating between teaching on my strategy and risk management. I'm very passionate about risk management because I'm also still learning how to be a less risky trader. And I'm actually doing an experiment right now. I think the beginners have had this story, and maybe some of you just joined yesterday, so maybe you haven't. We have an educator called Dr. Kathy Kirkland, and she is a lady in her mid-60s. She joined IAM, I think, 4 years ago or so, I think, because when I joined, I think she had been there for maybe 2 years or something, 2 and something. And literally this woman learned how to trade through IAM. She then compounded an account of $45, and over a period of 9 months, yes, that account grew to over $1.3 million. Please do the math. $45, that's 4,500 shillings right now, to over 130 million in 9 months. Let me ask you guys, where will you be in 9 months with that kind of money? I mean, for me, I don't know if I'll be in Kenya. Just COVID has stopped my plans, but yeah. So basically what I'm doing right now is I started an account of $50 and I'm just trading it. And I will tell you, I'll keep checking in with guys, you know, and telling you where I've gotten to. But I think if Dr. K can do it, so can I. And I'm using stop loss on those trades that I take on the $50 account. So my 30 pip stop loss. And if I'm entering an index or a gold trade, I'm very clear that I'm scalping and I'm not doing intraday. So you can do that as well, guys. You can practice the risk management on a demo account or on a second account, whereby now this is an account you're growing slowly and you're not in a hurry to grow it and you're really putting in the stops with your risk. But then you can also then have your other account, you know, which you want to maybe trade more aggressively. Because now you want to make money that maybe you can withdraw on a day-to-day basis. So those are the two things I'm doing. I have my normal account, which I am scalping on, but and doing longer trades on, but then I also have my $50 account, which is now at $70. So that's that. Now, let's see. How much leverage, Hatibu, how much leverage should a beginner use to trade? A beginner should just never use leverage. Okay, I'm kidding. Leverage is what the broker gives you. I hope you guys understand what leverage is. Every time you put $1, the broker gives you, let's say 300, 200, 100, 500. So usually when you're opening your account, and you can always change your leverage. I remember I began with like 500 because I was like, I want a lot of money. Yeah, and it's okay. Yeah, it gives you more room to play because 1 to 500 is every dollar $500. So if you have $100, 500 times 100 is what? 500,000 or 50,000? Yeah. So you're technically trading $50,000 dollars. But the thing about leverage is that if you don't know how to use it and you just assume it can be good and it can also be bad. And I don't know if it's a beginner thing or what, but you see in the beginning you can be very aggressive and you think you have a lot of margin because leverage, the more leverage you have, the more space you have to trade and the bigger your margin. So you'll find that you can take more trades than somebody who has 1 to 100. Yeah. So if you're taking more trades, it means that you're risking more of your account. I don't know if that makes sense. As opposed to someone who has 1 to 100 or 1 to 200, the percentage you'd be risking per trade is higher. You can only take so many trades on a smaller leverage, but when you have a bigger leverage, you can take more trades because the broker has lent you more money. But when it comes to drawdowns as well, what do you think will happen? You tend to go into bigger drawdowns because now you've had a false sense of money. Like you think you have a big account, but you don't. You're just working on borrowed funds. So it can be good and bad for you. Okay. It just depends on how you manage your risk and what kind of a trader you are. So for me, I had to reduce my leverage. I used to have 1 to 500. Now I'm on 1 to 200. Yeah, I'm trading with 1 to 200. So that if I don't have space to trade, I just don't have space to trade. I cannot have more. So usually in my account, I only ever have two trades running maximum at a time. I can't do more than 2. If I did more than 2, then I would be over leveraging. And this is just using the correct lot size. The correct lot size as per my account. And as you guys know, lot size risk, you risk 1 to 2% of your account. That's we say 0.01 for every $100. But in essence, that is not even, I don't know if that is 1%. Yeah. So that's it, guys. There being no other questions, any last minute comments? Has this been of value to you? If it has, please type in 111. If you've enjoyed the session, type in 222. If you think I'm awesome, type in 555.
Lilian, a quick question.
Yes.
For normally when you trade these currencies, the demand influences the strength of the currency.
Yes.
And normally governments do intervene, especially if they're exporting countries. So if it rises so fast, when the government intervene and then you lose money if you don't time your trade very well?
Will the government intervene if the price moves too high up?
Like sometimes the government devalue their currency to make them cheap to encourage exports.
Yeah.
If you are an exporting country, if you are not timing your trades very well, won't you be affected by the devaluations of currencies at some point?
Devaluation of currency.
So like the other time, China devalued their currency to make exports cheaper, so that most guys can start buying Chinese products. Let's say like the test points that you are talking about.
Mhm.
Like if the CHF starts going up so fast, the government.
I think if I can answer that question in a way that maybe even me, I understand what you're asking. If price loses value, I think price losing value and you understanding the direction of the market are two different things. So even if
Okay.
a government devalues the price, but I got the direction of the price correctly, I still catch my pips. I still get my 10 pips, 20 pips. It's just that now the value of that pip per dollar is what now has changed.
Yes,
So I
that's what.
probably get a few, yes. And those are things that maybe in terms of the value of the dollar, sometimes you can't anticipate. However, right, you can then look for pairs that are heavily traded. So like and that is also part of our beginner classes where you learn about the major currencies. What are the major currencies? I think there are 5 or 6 of them, the major pairs that are traded heavily. Then you have the minor pairs, then you have the exotic pairs, then you have the metals, you have the indices. So that's why people trade different things, because their value per pip is higher in general. So even if they go down in price, the value per pip is still high. I don't know if I've answered that question. I hope I have.
Yeah, I think you do. You have. Yes. Thanks.
Yeah. So usually as a trader, you're just trying to anticipate direction of price. Is it going up or is it coming down? If you trade binary or HFX, which my leader, one of my leaders, Kendago, is going to be training on tomorrow, he'll be talking about just that. You know, or in binary, you just need to know where the price is going, whether it's going up or down. If it goes up and you said it's going to go down, you lose money. That's it. It's one time done. With Forex now, you have you can wait it out. If it goes in the opposite direction, you can just wait for it to come back in your direction, be patient and whatnot. So that's that. So thank you, Ben, for that. I really appreciate it. I can see, okay, guys are still doing 222s. That means we are done. Thank you very much, guys. There being no other question, I think I want to wrap it up just to help you guys prepare for the next session, which is at 9 o'clock. This is basically a guest Zoom. So if you have any guests, please invite them last minute, and Bernard will be doing the presentation. Tomorrow we'll be back at 8 with Jeremiah Kendago, and he'll be doing a training on binary, introduction to binary. He may even maybe throw in a practical class trading binary. So anyone who has been curious about that market, please tune in. See you guys. Thank you so much for all your kind words and your compliments. I really appreciate it. I'm here because of you. So asanteni. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Lilo.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Lilo, hebu angalia US 30.
Asifa. Nani kawembe?